Hey, shout out to the Vanimal with the new intro here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Morgan You Know podcast. My name is Rod Morgan. I will be your host this evening. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your time with us, whether it is live here tonight on the night of some monumentous news that's trying to... I'm going to hold it together. Jimmy, I promise you, I'm going to hold it together. We got business here at the top. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about wrestling. My name is Rod Morgan. Let me bring in my partner here at the Morgan You Know, the executive producer, the co-host, the brains, the glue, Jimmy Jamriska. Jimmy, hello.
I guess I am the glue that holds everything together here, Rod. What a great day to be a Cubs fan. That's all I have to say. They won by 20 today, Rod.
Yes, the Cubs. I was following that intently today. I was all over the Cubs score from today. And man, I know who actually was following that and is probably just as excited about it as you are. Probably not as angry about the NBA news that is just keeping me boiling over right now. It's our guy, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What's up? 8 home runs today for the Cubbies. If you're an American, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. If you're a Canuck, happy Canada Day. It is a holiday here on the Morgan You Know podcast.
Shout out to our Canadian friends having poutine this evening. I appreciate all of you up there in Canada who listen to the Morgan You Know. I know that you would like us to cover hockey more, but would you really? I don't know anything about hockey. You don't want me talking about hockey. Just like you don't want me talking about the World Cup. I do know there's a game happening right now. Isn't there, Jimmy? The United States is playing somebody in a round of 32 game. Am I correct about that?
Yes, it's halftime. The United States just scored a goal. They had one goal taken back because of offsides, which is the worst rule ever because no one understands it. But USA is up. It's halftime, so we should get some viewers.
Nice. Chris, now let me tell you something else that I heard about the World Cup. I hear that the United States was favored to win this game. I hear it looks like they're actually favored against either one of the two people they might play in the round of 16. So, of course, the world is on fire that the U.S. has the easiest draw in the history of the World Cup. Should we as Americans care about that? Because I don't.
No, because we're still a plucky underdog. This is football, right? World football, not American football. We aren't supposed to be good. And we also just saw a powerhouse a la Germany get knocked out. The Netherlands get knocked out. So this World Cup could be real interesting real quick. Man, Germany got knocked out by Paraguay, who we destroyed.
Things are tough for Germany, right? They're losing to Paraguay in South America. They're losing their wrestlers, Ludwig Kaiser becoming El Grande Americano and a hero to all of Mexico. Tough times for Germany over there. Jimmy, I don't really have any other news about baseball. I'm desperately trying to waste time here before we get to the main event. Do you have anything else about Journey to Rodtober we should get here off the top?
No, all I have to say is welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. For as boring as trade deadline day was, and let's be honest, not much happened on free agency and trade deadline, not trade deadline, but free agency day. But today a few things happened, and I guess the first question is, how's it going, Rod?
Are you asking me what I think about Norm Powell to the Chicago Bulls? Is that what you're asking me about? Are you asking me what I think about Kelly Oubre, a nice signing for your Indiana Pacers? Is that what you're asking me about here, Jim?
No, it's full circle moment. Vooch, back with the magic. Let's go.
Vucci, baby. I saw you turn down more money from who? I want names, Jimmy. I want names of the teams that were begging Nikola Vucevic to take more than the minimum to play for their team.
Mrs. Vooch, let's be honest with that. So now the Magic have Vooch, Wendell Carter, and Franz Wagner. Not bad from that trade back in the day. So I'm going to talk about it.
What, Jaylen Brown? Is that what you're asking me about, Jimmy? Jaylen Brown?
The Boston Celtics have traded Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for a 2028 first-round pick that could be a pick swap, depending on what 9 things could happen, a 2031 unprotected pick, and 2 second-round picks.
Is that good?
I don't think so, Rod. Do you
No,
think
it's definitely not good. It's definitely not good. It's not. And I have 2 choices here, Jimmy. I have 2 choices here. I can sit and wallow in despair, or I can take a victory lap. And you know what I'm going to choose to do, Jimmy? I'm going to take a victory lap. How many years have I been telling everybody Jaylen Brown is not very good? How many years? How many years have I been on this podcast saying that Jaylen Brown's not necessarily a player you want on your team? He's definitely good, but he's not great. He makes things interesting. It's a difficult fit at times. And lo and behold, Jaylen Brown is a fire sale because apparently the Celtics were desperate to trade him. I don't know what deadline there was, but the Celtics were desperate to trade him, and the only return they could get was Paul George. And Jimmy, I don't know if Brad Stevens has a DeLorean and some plutonium in his back pocket, but those are the only things that are going to make Paul George any kind of a decent return for Jaylen Brown in 2026. So I could choose to wallow, Jimmy, but I'm going to say I've been telling everybody Jaylen Brown was bad, and this just proved it.
Chris, how surprised were you that this happened?
I don't think it's really that surprising. We've been hearing these rumors ever since we knew Giannis was available, that the Celtics were willing to part with Brown, right? I think maybe they had convinced themselves this is what they need to do. It saves the money, gives them room to maneuver in trades come the deadline if they need to. They got extra assets now. Draft picks are important come trade deadline. So who knows? I don't know. I think the Celtics are probably better with a healthy Tatum and no Jaylen Brown than they were with a healthy Brown and no Jason Tatum.
I don't know. They were pretty good with a healthy Jaylen Brown. They were really good last year. But Rod, so that it was a big day for your Celtics. It's such a weird trade, and there's got to be something else you would think. But again, is there anything else? Is this just the best they could do for Jaylen Brown? I want to talk about Philadelphia here in a second, but Rod, your Celtics also kind of going old school here. They picked up two other free agents as well. They got Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks and Mike Conley from the T-Wolves. What's going on?
Does Brad Stevens only have tape from when Mike Conley was on the Memphis Grizzlies and Paul George was on the Indiana Pacers prior to Paul George blowing out his leg in that horrible Team USA? I mean, in Brad Stevens we trust. I mean, the president normally, like, he doesn't miss, but the only thing I can say here, Jimmy, is that, like, Jaylen behind scenes has told everybody I'm gone. Maybe Whit Grossbeck, the new owner of the Celtics, right? We don't necessarily know where this guy comes down on things yet. He's only been an owner of the team for a little over a year, a little under a year. I'm not even entirely sure about the timeline at this moment because my head is a flutter. But the only thing that I can think is that somebody told Brad Stevens he had to make this deal. Because I'm sorry, the entire track, see, I'm hitting the microphone.
Wow.
The entire track record we have of Brad Stevens is that he doesn't make moves like this, right? Holiday, Porzingis, come on, Celtics win a championship. Derek White, did he overpay? Turns out to be the linchpin, right? Peyton Pritchard, what's going on? Why are they re-signing him? Turns out to be a great player. Who's Hugo Gonzalez? Baylor Shireman. Everything is working out. Brad Stevens doesn't miss, and now this move is made? I don't understand it. When you told me the Celtics were going to bring in Giannis, I'm like, great, cool, grand, wonderful. Giannis is another top 10 player. Giannis plays interior. He's a defender. He plays fast. All things the Celtics don't do. Paul George does not address any of the things I thought the Celtics were improving when I thought they were getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. See, I can't even say his name. Man, the Celtics have me pissed off. RKO, everybody. That's why I got the shirt on.
I am stunned that we are hearing Rod talk like this to his Lord and Savior, Brad Stevens. I have doubted Brad in the past, and he's proved us wrong. Rod's always been right there behind every move Brad has ever made and has worked out perfectly well. So I'm not ready to say that Brad doesn't have something else up his sleeve, right? Maybe people have thought that he is too reserved or too cautious to make moves like this, but maybe he's been pulling the wool over our eyes and he has something else tucked up. Who knows?
Well, the Celtics do save through about $3 million this season, about 6 or 7 the next season, and then that's it. So Paul George isn't expiring after next year. It's a player option, and the immortal words of Ryan Russillo, he's picking up that 56.6. I think you can call that in. You're on mute. See, Rod is he's beside himself.
It wasn't that good of a joke anyway. We can move on.
Okay, that sounds good. So, yeah, the entire league kind of shifted today, too, because we have the 76ers now have some. They don't need Jaylen Brown to dribble, Rod. They have VJ Edgecombe. They have Tyrese Maxey. They have Embiid when he plays.
Let me get this straight. You're the Boston Celtics. You're the number 2 seed in the East last year. You have a player on your team that finished 6th in the MVP voting last year, and you decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ship that guy off to the team that came back and beat us down 3-1 in the playoffs. I mean, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and give Jaylen Brown to our mortal enemy, a team the Celtics have been fighting with since Bill Russell was friggin' on this team. I don't understand what's going on. The only thing I can say is this is Wick Grossbeck's fault. I'm all anti-NBA owners from here on out. Tom Dundon, you're on the list. Wick Grossbeck, you're on the list. Jerry Reinsdorf's on the list. Herb Simon, things are going well in the right now, but you need to sell the team. All the owners are on notice. RKO, everybody.
So the Utah Jazz have signed, let's see who'd they sign? Jackson Hayes for a 2-year, $12 million deal. Why did they do that? Well, they needed another big man because they sent Walker Kessler to the Utah Jazz for 2 unprotected picks in 31 and 33 and 2 pick swaps in 28 and 30. It was
Jazz
great
got more
watch.
for Walker Kessler. The Jazz got more for Walker Kessler than the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown. Where'd Walker Kessler finish the MVP voting last year? Where was Walker Kessler on the All-NBA voting? Oh, my God.
We really needed the Rod Them Nation for this thing.
So I was going to start the show off with the Rod Damnation, but Rod sent me the new Van clip about 30 minutes beforehand, so I had to edit that real quick, and I wanted to put that in to make him happy. But yeah, this was big, gigantic. I mean, the Jazz had to do this. There's no question you're doing this, especially those unprotected picks are 2031 and 2033. It is 2026 right now. Anything can happen between now and then, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, this just is going to show that the Jazz is a franchise with an ownership that belongs on the list right there with all of Rod's other hated people, right? I mean, they're essentially constantly just playing for the future, Utah is. There's no, let's win now. There's no, let's get things done. Let's make smart moves. Like people get unhappy there. They trade them away. This is Utah just kicking the can down the road. Right? They're kicking it down the road. I don't understand how they keep fans. I'd be so mad if I was a Utah Jazz fan.
So I didn't think you'd go that way. I'm going to go a different direction here. I love this for the Utah Jazz. Walker Kessler wanted to be paid $40+ million a year, and the Jazz really didn't see anything. Last year, he didn't play. He got hurt, okay? They have a young team. They don't really need him. And they got a huge haul for him moving forward, Chris. I actually think this is a great move. This isn't a tanking thing, Rod. This is just a no-brainer, right?
Man, I yearn for the days where Danny Ainge was the president of Celtics basketball operations, and his son Austin Ainge was in the Celtics front office because of this terrible move that just went down in Boston. Neither of the Ainges have their fingerprints on this. And then this wonderful move out in Utah that is booning the wonderful Mormons, the people that don't even like caffeine. They get to see great basketball. They get wonderful returns for their trades. But the Chowda folks back in Boston, we get crapped on. I don't like this, Jimmy.
When was the last time they saw great basketball in Utah? It hasn't been the last couple years.
Rod is just beside himself right now. This is insane. Chris, your Indiana Pacers finally did something, getting Kelly Oubre. I really like this for the Pacers. He's a good ball player.
And he fits in with the type of basketball that the Pacers play too. Rod said it in our offline chat that this was a smart move. He fits in well with his team, and I agree. Right? He isn't a guy that is flashy. He goes in, he knows his role, he gets the job done. I think he'll fit in great. 25 minutes a night, it'll be perfect.
Okay, I love that. Love that.
This guy defends, right? Like you got Neesmith, who's an absolute Wolverine out there at times. And then you're going to get Kelly Oubre for another 24 minutes, and he's going to be acting like an absolute Wolverine at times. And he's like 6'7". So the Pacers just get good wing size. You'd like him to be able to shoot better, just like you want Neesmith to be able to shoot better. But on nights where those guys are burying threes, the Pacers are going to be tough, right? Like, Jimmy, I'm sure you're going to go to the Bulls here. So I'm going to lead you there by saying, you Bulls fans, slow down. All right, let's not forget that the Pacers are coming back to the top 6, okay? Let's not forget that the Raptors are probably going to be in the top 6 with Kawhi coming to their team. Miami, Tim Hardaway Jr. decides to sign there for the minimum when he could have went elsewhere. Who else is going to show up there? I'm not so sure your Bulls are guaranteed the top 6. Sorry, Cowboy Derek.
Yeah, I said back to the play-in game as a kind of a joke. Derek's like, no, we're top six with Norman Powell, 2-year, $45 million deal. It's actually a 1-year deal with a team option for the second year. So that's expiring already. So Norm, rent. That's all I'm going to say, because if you have a really good first half of the season, you are probably going to end up on a different team starting in the second half. Remember, the Bulls need to be out of that bottom three. They have such a young team right now that they're probably going to be down in that area. So I do like the fact that they have Norman Powell. Something kind of cool. I really like that, Chris.
Do you think he finishes the year as a Bull, or do you think he's moved during the trade deadline?
No, he'll be moved. He's going to be an expiring contract, and someone will want to score for sure. For sure.
Hey, maybe
they
we can
did
come
wait.
to Boston.
Go ahead.
Maybe we can come to Boston and we can get out of that second year of Paul George by just trading him for Norm Powell, and then we can just cut Norm Powell, and it could just be a 1-year mistake.
So then you get Jaylen Brown for Norm Powell and a couple of picks.
Listen, that's sunk cost. That's sunk cost at this point, Jimmy. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I can walk into the kitchen after you decided to spill the milk all over the counter when you were trying to get your cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, all right? I could sit here and yell at you all I want about you spilling the milk all over the counter, but there's not going to be a damn thing I can do about the milk not hitting the table, about the wasted money that was spent on the milk to buy it so you could put it for your precious cereal in the first place, right? I'm not going to continue to cry about Jaylen Brown. He's already shipped out of town. We got to move on.
I'm glad we're moving on, Chris.
Right. Here's something I wanted to bring up, and I'm gonna use a Williams phrase and circle back to the Lakers. I think the Lakers are better today than they were when they had LeBron on the team. I actually like the Kessler move. I like them signing Quentin Grimes to a deal for $15 million a year. I actually like what the Lakers are doing. I don't think they're better than a 4 seed, but I still like what they're doing.
Hey, Chris, who's the other person they signed?
Did I say Kessler?
No,
I said Kessler.
Yeah, you did. Who's the other guy they signed from the Raptors?
Oh, Sandro.
Yeah. What's his last name, Chris?
I only know him as Sandro. His friends only request that you call him Sandro.
That's it. Okay.
Don't forget about that time that they were clubbing over in Eastern Europe together, Jimmy.
That
you
is
remember
true.
the Instagram photos? They were tight.
Yeah, that is true. You, Sandro, Colin Sexton, Quentin Grimes all hanging out together. I like it. Yeah, that's another big thing. And it's funny when LeBron James is our like fifth story down. There's actually a couple other stories we're going to talk about too. But LeBron James is not going to play with the Lakers. And I think the Lakers, Rod, they were crying about that. They were heartfelt.
You know, things are always a little bit difficult with LeBron. It never seems to be a whole, hey, LeBron, thanks for your time, and we're happy that you're leaving, right? Things were a little bit acrimonious in Miami. The folks in Cleveland have seemed to have gotten over it a little bit in time, but we all know that they were a little burned up each time he left. And folks in Lakers never really opened their arms to him, so that's fine. But LeBron's going to choose happiness, Jimmy. All right. Rich Paul's statement to everybody sounded like LeBron's on the therapy couch. I mean, so, but hey, if anybody's earned it, going into his 24th season and still being this darn good, like the guy legitimately could have been third team All NBA last year. That's insane. Mike Conley's going into his 20th year, and I don't think he's going to see the floor for the Celtics. LeBron's going into his 24th, and I think he's still going to move the needle.
Yeah, especially when he signs with Boston here coming up, which is why they got Paul George. No, maybe we'll see. We had another huge signing with Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a pick swap. Unbelievable haul for Kawhi Leonard, which to me means he's not going to get suspended at all. Is this just going to go away, Chris? I mean, you are the conspiracy man here.
I'm really kind of concerned that Leonard may not be a smart man. Does he think going to Canada will get him some sort of extradition or out of legal trouble or some sort? Like, he seemed to really put the Clippers in a chokehold demanding this trade, and I think he may think going out of the country gets him out of it, but it doesn't work like that, Kawhi.
Chris, you might be onto something, because if you remember, the other teams that we were told he would have maybe accepted a trade to were Dallas or San Antonio, teams that are close to the southern border. So you might be onto something with Kawhi's extradition plan here, Chris.
I think it's an interesting trade for Toronto. I think it's a no-brainer for the Clippers to get all that the future assets. Plus, Grady Dick, still young, you never know. Brandon Ingram's going to play really good during the regular season when he plays. Then he's going to get hurt most of the time. He's basically Kawhi Leonard in the regular season.
Do you get the feeling of deja vu here, Jimmy? Because if we remember all those years ago when Kawhi got traded from San Antonio to Toronto, It was Jakob Poeltl, who the Raptors could have traded for Kawhi this time around, but the Clippers decided they didn't want him. And it was DeMar DeRozan, a small forward who's kind of lanky, not really a passer, shoots a lot of mid-range jumper. Nobody really loves, but like everybody will tell you, he's just a fine guy. Doesn't that sound an awful lot like Brandon Ingram? Like, my goodness, the similarities, except they had to give way more draft picks up this time.
That's so many draft picks that they're giving up to the Raptors, or to the Clippers. So congratulations to LA. It looks like you're going to be fighting for that 4th through 10th spot in the NBA draft. Good luck to you. Two more real quick that we haven't talked about. Then we're going to get into wrestling because we've kind of given wrestling the, it's been on the back burner for a little while here. But Ja Morant, goodbye Memphis, hello Portland. I think the good news is they needed a point guard because they didn't have any. So that's good, Chris.
Right, and it gives them, I guess, a way to show, hey, come to our games. We have a star on our team.
Well, Dame Lillard is pretty good.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Neither's Ja.
Well, he may have a little bit more of a clip highlight reel type of a game than what Dame ever will again, probably. Right? I don't know. It was obvious that Memphis needed to get Ja out of there. Portland's not a serious franchise right now, so why not?
I really thought that this was a precursor to a Scoot Henderson or Shaden Sharp getting traded along with like a Jeremy Grant, or so. I guess Jeremy Grant went to Memphis in this, but a bigger trade coming up after that. I don't think it is, Rod.
Listen, Tom Dundon is certainly not someone that I want to give credit to. I believe that a lot of what he is trying and getting away with right now is not good long-term for the NBA. We need to remember that the NBA is not necessarily a retail business chain, right? You can't treat it with the same exact principles that you treat a corporation that you buy and you just want to milk for every last dime and then so you can turn it over. That's not what's necessarily best for the long-term health of the league. But Tom Dundon aside, this is a smart move, okay? You traded the lesser of the Murray brothers, and the Murray brothers aren't really that good at basketball in the first place. And Jeremy Grant, a contract that nobody wanted for a guy that who 2 years ago, still averaged around 22, almost 23 points a game, almost 6 assists, right? Like, if you can figure out some kind of way to have Dame be more of a shooter and get him to realize that now's not his time on the ball, and Ja gets the ball and Denny gets the ball, like, you may have something there, because the Portland Trailblazer fans are really, really mad at their owner and don't want to support him, but they have a decent product and they have a coach that's really going to be having to fight his ass off because he's got no guarantee whatsoever. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen in Portland, Jimmy. And I got to be real about that as much as I'm anti-Tom Dundon.
Yeah, the thing that with Ja is he's gone from 27 to 26 to 25 to 23 to 19 points a game over the past few years there. So his points per game are going down. His games played are kind of all over the place, especially with that 9-game season in 23-24. Maybe he doesn't have to be as explosive in this offense and he can do a couple other things, but is he a good jump shooter? Not really. That's what he does as he goes to the hoop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Again, like you said, though, getting off that contract was really big for the Trailblazers, so I think that was good. And then finally, so many years ago it seems, Minnesota Timberwolves getting LaMelo Ball and Josh Green for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected, 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. Do you think LaMelo fits well in Minnesota, Rod?
I get it on its face, right? Anthony Edwards is sick of being double teamed. He wants a shiny new object that is someone that can handle the ball and make life a little easier on him at times and be someone that drives to the basket. So LaMelo Ball absolutely gets that done. But LaMelo Ball, at least in this podcaster's opinion, fits a little bit better on an and one mixtape than he actually does on a team that is about winning playoff basketball games. His record in play-in games is abysmal. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have been in the Western Conference Finals twice and bowed out last year a little earlier than they wanted to. They're trying to retool. I understand it on its face, and I don't get it ultimately. But Chris what you were saying about Utah is what you need to be saying about Charlotte. This is a team that said, hey, we dipped our toe in the playoffs last year and we decided, no, we're going to slow play it, which maybe isn't wrong, but it's not what you usually call for.
No, Charlotte is another ridiculous franchise right now, right? It's obvious to me with this trade too, Minnesota is making a push for more offense as well instead of defense, which I think is odd in the West. I think you need to have a top tier defense in the West if you want to come out of those playoffs. It was very clear to us watching these finals that if you don't have good defense, you're not going to win games. And defense can literally bring you back from the brink of death and get you back from 29 points down and still win a finals game. So it's odd to me too.
See, guys, again, I think this is a team being smart about it. If you would have gotten, a year ago, they said, hey, this is what you're going to get for LaMelo Ball, I think everyone would have just been, you're not going to do it. Of course, there's a lot of things that have happened this year about that. But last year he played 72 games and he had 47, 22, 36 the previous 3 years. And then to top it off, the Bridges trade was a gigantic trade for them as well. They got a first-round pick in 2033, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, fine players, but getting out of Miles Bridges, who was almost out of the league like a year and a half ago, Rod, unbelievable.
Denzel Valentine, Mateen Cleaves, like any other ex-Spartans still out there that can make their way to Phoenix.
Yeah, that's
like
weird.
A 10-day, you know what I mean? Get like a 10-day at least, because I don't know if anybody else in the league was going to be willing to pay that price for Miles Bridges. So you guys are both right in this scenario. Chris is right that it's ridiculous for Charlotte to take a step back and not try to push forward after what they did last year. But Jimmy, you're absolutely right that what Charlotte did is strong team building, right? They got even more draft picks. They got more of a launch point now to pack good players around who their ultimate superstar may be. Now, it's hard to make an ultimate superstar in Charlotte, but Jimmy, I want to go here, and I think we're going to close the loop nicely. You said it. Charlotte sold high on LaMelo Ball, and the Celtics, where we started this podcast, probably didn't get the chance to sell high on Jaylen Brown, and look at the return they got. So maybe Charlotte was doing the right thing.
That was the Fast Break, the fastest 28 minutes in the NBA. And now we're going to go to the Yeah We Know portion of the podcast where we talk WWE. And gentlemen, Sami Zayn is him. He is the new world champion, undisputed WWE Championship. He won. He beat the champion in the middle of the ring, and he will have his first ever championship reign, Chris.
How long has Sami been in the WWE?
In the WWE, like a decade.
Yeah, okay, where do you go from here, right? Do we got to see Cody and Sami again? We got to see Gunther and Sami again. We've seen this, all right? I don't know. I don't know what you do with this. It can't be a long reign, right? It's going to be short.
It may not be a long reign at all.
Chris is like the Vince Goodwill of wrestling around here. Shout out to all basketball fans who know what I'm talking about here. But Vince Goodwill took a bunch of guff for basically calling it a participation trophy in the NBA if you can't back it up with the championship again the next year, right? And so Chris is like, hey, congratulations, Sami Zayn. You made it to the tip top of your profession. Something you dreamed about since you were a kid. Big deal. Who are we going to see fight now? Whatever. Let's move on. I mean, absolutely. Come on. What are we doing here? I am still a fan of wrestling. I popped extremely hard when Sami Zayn won that match. I loved it. There were smiles on my face. I was excited for Sami. And the other thing I got to say here is if I want to pat myself on the back for saying I was right about Jaylen Brown not being all that valuable, I was dead wrong about Sami Zayn. Jimmy, you were a kind man for not immediately running the clip of me saying, that's ridiculous. There's no chance Sami Zayn's going to win this match and walk out of there champion before SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's one of our chances to get on freezing cold takes there. I love that one a lot. Listen, Chris, what happens next? Well, let's see. He beat the champion, so the champion get a rematch. And then there was a third guy in the match who didn't get pinned and can say, hey, you never beat me. So there are the next two feuds for him.
Yeah, but the third guy in the match is apparently going to fight Nick Aldis, which I'm all for.
Right, that looks real interesting too. I won't be mad at that, right? But again, I'm a fan. I was not going to be happy with the outcome of that match if anybody but Gunther walked away with the belt. So you knew I wasn't going to be happy.
So spoiler alert.
Wait a minute. Jimmy, we got to stay with this for a second. How many people do you think were sitting in America just like Chris, watching Night of Champions in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday, and they're like, unless Gunther wins, we riot. Like, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? Like, Chris comes on here and he like just drops who I wanted to win. Everybody wanted Gunther to win. No, not everybody wanted Gunther to win. Do you hear the incredible level of heat that he gets every time he grabs the microphone, Chris? He was going
Didn't say
babyface Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I didn't say everybody. I said me. I wasn't going to be happy because I'm tired of Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn.
You're supposed to be the voice of the fan around here.
I'm the voice of a fan.
There weren't that many people in Austria rooting for Gunther, let alone America, Chris. So Sami Zayn
Shout
gets
out to
the
our
win.
Austrian fans. They love us in Austria.
Quick spoiler alert, it's going to be Mondays. Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship on Raw. It's a SmackDown title, but it's on Raw.
Ooh.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that, Rod?
Ooh, the minute you said that to me, I was like, oh, my guy Sammy. You know what, though? All right. I love Sammy. He got the championship. Good for him. But I'm also cool with, like, let's have a quick title reign because we haven't had a quick title reign in a long, long time. So why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
Can I interest you in the location of Raw on Monday?
Was it Atlanta? Canada?
No, it's Chicago, Illinois.
No, CM Punk.
Yep.
CM Punk's got to fight
a
Cody,
new buff,
right?
A buff CM Punk, I hear.
He's got to fight Cody, right? We got to get that, right?
Yeah, I think the only reason that Sammy could win is you don't need a second gigantic match at SummerSlam to main event one of the two nights because we already know what the other main event's going to be. You know, going up to Raw. We'll get back to Night of Champions here real quick, but well, actually, Night of Champions, Obafemi beat Jey Uso to be the King of the Ring. And the King of the Ring gets the championship match at SummerSlam, like we talked about. So, of course, Oba comes out and he says, I'm going to fight Roman Reigns. No, he said, I don't want a championship match. Rod, it's the biggest thing in wrestling to be the champion. And he said, no, I don't want to be the champion. It'll be there later for me. How does he know this? He could get hurt. He could get sick. He could, I don't know, get no reaction when he comes out. I don't like it.
Well, no, but this is the problem with the booking at the moment, right? You, me, some of wrestling Twitter, because some of wrestling Twitter is just absolutely insane, and there's no pleasing them no matter what happens. But a little good portion of wrestling Twitter out there is smart, and we all know that there's better booking out there to be written with the people that we even have. But TKO, who writes the checks and seems to be the ones really calling the shot, they like these main event type that can sell a match like a UFC main event or like a Zuffa boxing main event. So they like Brock Lesnar. They like Obafemi. They like making big tentpole things they can sell all of these things off of. And it's absolutely hurting storytelling because you're right. It's ridiculous for a King of the Ring to jump on and say, really appreciate this chance that you guys are giving me, but I'm good. That's ridiculous. That almost kills kayfabe. What are we doing?
Okay, so Chris has to love this then, right?
Why have a tournament at all? Right? Why do it? You have made that King of the Ring absolutely worthless. All right? You might as well. I mean, to me right now, you've made it lower than the Andre the Giant Battle Royale winner. All right? I have always been on here going, give me a tournament. Give me like number one contender matches. Give me something that shows me who really is next in line to compete for a said belt, right? So you do that. You give me a King in the Ring, and then you don't have a championship fight afterwards. Horrible. Why even do it?
It's odd that all three of us are angry about the same thing at the same time. I kind of like that, though. That's really cool.
Jimmy, what's wrong? If you want to tell this story, fine. I'm all for Brock Oba number 3, okay?
No question.
But what I don't understand is why don't you just have Brock show up in Saudi? Because the princes would have paid extra knowing Brock was going to be there for at least something. We all know that that's how this stuff works. Like, let's not be naive about this, right? So you tell Prince bin Halaman Saman, whatever the guy's name is, we'll get Brock there for you. He'll kick in a bunch of extra million. Brock shows up, costs Oba the crown. Jey Uso has the crown. Sure, all of us are mad, but at least the King of the Ring tournament's not completely crapped on. And then you have another reason to sell Oba Brock 3. Jimmy, tell me why that wasn't the way they went.
Well, then you have Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, and they have history like no other. to go on the World Championship. So that would be cool. Rod, you could also have had Oba lose his first round King of the Ring because it was a multi-person match. So he didn't have to win. He didn't have to get beat. You could also, Rod, not have him in the tournament, right, Chris?
Yeah. We knew before this tournament started that there was going to, Brock had already came back for the second fight. We knew there was going to be a third, right? Because that's what wrestling does. And so you knew this before you even had the King of the Ring set in stone. So yeah, don't put Oba in there. Put a Damian Priest. Put a Ricky Saints. Put a Penta in there. Maybe he was already in there. I can't remember now. But like you had a plethora of other guys that can put on a show in the ring. You didn't need Oba in the King of the Ring tournament, especially if this is what you're going to do.
Especially because, wrestling is predetermined. Now, I know not everyone, including some people in our government, understand that it's predetermined, but it's predetermined. It's written down. It's a TV show. You don't have to do this. That's all I'm saying.
That is what TKO is using to their advantage, Jimmy, right? Like, I'm sure Triple H or Paul Levesque, however he chooses to call himself when he's in those meetings with those guys, probably Paul. I'm sure he goes to them. He's like, hey, you guys are killing me, like storytelling wise, like this is where we've been building to. And they're like, yeah, no, that's fine. But Brock Lesnar, right? That's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's kind of what TKO is using to feed us the stale storytelling.
So we have that in a section. Let's go to the Brock Lesnar Obafemi in a box. Hell in a Cell, Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, that's money. That's going to main event night 2. It should. And it's going to be a 10-minute just bloodbath that apparently Netflix will now blur out, if you haven't heard of that, because there's a replay and Braun Breaker's face was blurred out on the replay on Netflix. So that's interesting. But anyway, so we have this huge match that is really going to catapult Obafemi to the next level, I really think. But then, Chris, what do you do next? Because you don't have a huge pay-per-view until Survivor Series then, and you don't want that to be a championship match, do you?
Not one where Oba's going to come out on top, right? If they want the belt to change hands, especially if it's going to be, for all intents and purposes, Roman, right? You're not having Roman lose that anywhere other than probably, I hate saying this, WrestleMania. I would love to watch him lose it in SummerSlam. If he doesn't lose it in SummerSlam, he's not going to lose it until WrestleMania. But let's hope Rod's guy gets it done.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Jimmy,
that's
wait a minute.
thing.
We got to address this before we move on. Your hatred for Money in the Bank, Jimmy, just knows no bounds. We'll have Money in the Bank before we'll have Survivor Series. They moved that to September.
One of the four. I guess Money in the Bank is kind of better than Survivor Series. I agree. I agree with that. As someone who's actually been to a Money in the Bank, when Brock Lesnar came out, because he wasn't even on the show, but he came out and won Money in the Bank. Greatest thing ever. Sheamus is trying to go up. We're like, no. And then he gets thrown up. Brock Lesnar comes out. And we're like, oh, the other guy. My goodness, we did not want Lesnar to win that one. Everyone was very angry about Ohio on that Sunday night. We had Seth freaking Rollins defeat Braun Breaker in a steel cage match, and now going on to face Roman Reigns. Rod, your boy is on a little bit of a run here for being an old guy.
Again, no one should listen to my wrestling predictions. All right, I got to come clean here. I said that Seth Rollins was going to lose. I said that it doesn't help business at all for Seth Rollins to win, and I was flat wrong about that. But I see that there are a lot of people in rafts just paddling and just coming with makeshift sails, right? They're just coming from everywhere. The Seth Rollins Island, right? We got people washing up on the beach of Seth Rollins Island every day. And that's great. We're excited to have lots of people on Seth Rollins Island. I just want to make sure that everyone that arrives on Seth Rollins Island knows I got the house at the top of the hill, all right? I'm up there for a reason. I reside at the top of the hill. The rest of you are welcome here on Seth Rollins Island, but the top of the hill, Seth Rollins' house, belongs to your boy Rod. All right, continue.
You have never liked Seth Rollins. I don't know what you're talking about, but Seth gets the win there. Chris, are you excited to see Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns?
So Rod's not wrong. I'm one of these people he's referring to that has kind of washed up on the Rollins shore, right? Even if I wasn't, that that meetup, that the way they ended Raw, right? That was so good, right? I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was bought into the whole line, the whole history, the Roman, you haven't conquered this yet. Like, it was so perfect. It was so good. Like, that was just a master class in cutting a promo as far as I'm concerned. It's one of the best I've seen. Let's give it a yeah, we know we right now. I mean, it was fantastic. If that doesn't make you a Rollins fan, if that doesn't make you hate the OTC and the bloodline even a little bit more, then you're not a Rollins fan.
Whoa! Wait a minute. What are you trying to do here? We don't have to paint that kind of a box. I literally just described that I'm the biggest house on Seth Rollins Island, and I'm an OTC guy. What are you doing? You're always trying to paint these arbitrary rules, Chris.
Just try to sneak that in there. I didn't know if you'd catch it.
So, did Seth Rollins say Roman Reigns never beat him?
He did say that. I was questioning that as well. I'm like, listen, we're all about a little bit of hubris here in the game, right? Who's really keeping score? But he did say that.
I mean, it happened twice on Raw in like 2014. So, in singles matches. So that was kind of weird. I'm not sure. Maybe for a title?
Why are you bringing
Maybe
up the
that's what you're
past?
saying?
It was a great promo, but Chris, I think we should slow down a little bit on giving it a yeah, we know-y, because a promo that happened on SmackDown on Friday between Cody and Sami, in my opinion, was just as good, man. I mean, like, I am coming around on Cody Rhodes a little bit just because of, I think that what Cody can do and then what Sami can do and what Seth can do so well is they can actually tell you the story. They can move something forward. They have the gravitas. They have the ability to hold the crowd and tell people an actual story. Cody doesn't miss, man. When Cody says this or that, or you did this, I'm like, it's always so right to me. And he hits the emotion just right. And so does Sami Zayn. I thought that promo between those two back and forth was just as good as Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns back and forth, in my opinion, Jimmy Jam. So great promo stuff being cut, which you're going to see with the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to guard a little bit. So that's when it's time to pull out the best promos.
We also had Io Sky defeat Liv Morgan to become the Queen of the Ring. And then she, rightfully so, is now challenging for Queen of the Ring at the championship at SummerSlam. No notes. It's what's supposed to happen. Look at that, Rod. Booking. I love it.
Yeah, that was a good match, right? That's one of those matches where I'm like, okay, let me watch Liv Morgan in a long match where her stamina, her ability to do lots of different moves and choreograph things together comes through. Let me not hear Liv Morgan shrilling and whining and screaming and complaining and whatever other garbage they have to have her do to play the heel character that she's playing right now. But she is really nails on a chalkboard to me almost anytime she talks right now. So it was good to see her out in the ring for a match. It was good to see her get a little comeuppance, right? To be sitting there after getting wiped out by Io Sky, laying on her backside. Like, I enjoyed that, right? To borrow Chris's fan gimmick for a second, seeing Liv Morgan get a little bit of something after talking so much shit to everybody for weeks was all right by me.
Chris, what were your thoughts?
Don't mess with Danhausen. That was my thought, right? I mean, the writing was on the wall. Right? She goes out, she smacks him around, she gets cursed, and she loses, right? That's what's going to happen, all right? Judgment Day is messing with the wrong dude.
Danhausen's going to be wrestling a match at Madison Square Garden, and he's going to get the biggest pop of the night. It's going to be fantastic. Speaking about big pops.
Wait, can we stay with
Go
Danhausen
ahead.
for a second?
Sure.
We've talked about the Judgment Day for how long, Jimmy Jam? When did Edge? Yeah, that's right, Edge.
It's been a while. Oh, yeah.
Is it finally going to be Danhausen cursing Liv that brings down the Judgment Day?
One of the first things I saw when you guys got me back into wrestling was Dom kicking Edge in the nuts with his side. That was the beginning of the Judgment Day. That was a long time ago.
Rhea Ripley was in the Judgment Day first, right? You know what I mean? And then she's already been done out.
She came out of nowhere, and because they needed to get her a little bit more over and stuff like that. Think about that. April 2022 was when the Judgment Day, when Edge formed the Judgment Day. How crazy is that?
And then so a guy who was wrestling in an armory at the time, right, for 50 people who paid $20 to see whatever promotion was rolling through town that time, sold a bunch of t-shirts out of his van. He's now going to wrestle at Madison Square Garden and bring down the Judgment Day. But here's the thing, Jimmy. Hold on, Danhausen and all the Danhausen fans out there. All right, I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, but we need to be careful about how many people are approaching Danhausen and paying Danhausen and how many curses are getting thrown out. Like, we can't start having the curses cross streams a little bit here because I think they're going to lose their power a little bit. Jimmy, am I wrong here?
Yeah, and also this whole Miz thing, I think that might be a little jumping the shark. That's saying something for Danhausen. I don't know if I buy in that.
No, I laugh. I laugh every time I see the Miz walking around like a dumb zombie. I laugh. I'm sorry. It's funny.
I like.
All right, then I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong. I'm a little worried, guys, about Trick Williams. He has not had good matches on pay-per-views, PLEs, anything. And this was another one. He and Ricky Saints, they had an average at best match that nobody cared about. That was ridiculous how bad no one cared about that match. Loved his entrance, but if you're going to be a main star, you got to perform in the ring. And these two guys, they're good. It's just it didn't work for me.
Well, everything's working for Trick as well because he literally is helping bring back the manager to the WWE. The boat, Little Yachty, is wonderful right now as a manager. He's got the gimmicks down. He's got the lines down. He's perfect. So you have a great manager. You have a great fur coat. You have a great medallion. You have a great song. You're a statue. You look like a wrestler. But, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. If you're going to be stiff in there, and if you can't wrestle with Ricky Saints, I'm worried, Jimmy, because I'm pretty sure Ricky Saints can go with anybody. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think Ricky Saints is a top-notch technical wrestler.
Oh, yeah, he's very good. Chris?
You guys are more well-versed, right? I didn't know who Ricky Saints was until I saw him as Ricky Saints here on the WWE. So, right, I guess everyone's allowed to have a bad match or two, but he gets you so hyped, man. He brings so much energy to the ring. You want to see those big matches, right? Those big, exciting matches with the crowd's into it because we're into it. We are ready. That interest is great. Yachty keeps the crowd going. Like, now we just need it in the match. So I don't know. Like, everything's there. Just need a better match. I don't know what it is.
He was in with Sami Zayn and they didn't do anything special. They won an okay match. You know?
I think, like,
just maybe him.
Isn't it tough, Jimmy, when you have a guy who, yes, Trick's tall and yes, Trick is big, right? But he's not as big as like an Omos or as like an Undertaker or, you know, and like his whole move is like, oh, look at how devastating my leg kick is. You know what I mean? Or, oh, look how devastating my, forearm is. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't run together really, really well. And it's awful hard for a guy like that to then wrestle a guy like Ricky Saints who's smaller than him, shorter, slimmer, like it's just Trick needs to have somebody else that he can like go blow to blow with, right? Like we need Damian Priest and Trick Williams to have a match. And then I think we might be able to see something because I think Damian Priest has the ability to bring stuff out of guys too. It's tough for Damian Priest. I love where he's at with R-Truth right now. But I think those two guys trading blows the way Damian Priest goes. I mean, nobody should punch the way I am right now. I hope folks are watching this on YouTube. but those two guys going at it will be much more entertaining than whatever I just did.
If he can't have a good match with Priest, then you really have to start thinking about if there's an issue with him in the ring. Because Priest rarely has bad matches.
Finally, Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Yeah, not ideal. Not a good match. I know it was thrown together at the last minute, but they've wrestled a lot together, and it just doesn't seem like it's just not working.
Can we tell?
Stop
no, Jimmy, I got
them.
this. Yeah, okay. I got this, Jimmy. We need to tell TKO to step aside on this one. Okay, TKO. We understand what you see in Tiffany Stratton, and we understand what you see in Jade Cargill. But can we all talk about who got the biggest pop in that match? All right. Can we all talk about who got the biggest fan reaction in that match? Can we all talk about who made that match anything that anybody would want to watch? And that's Chelsea Green. Okay. That's Chelsea Green and her trying to glom on to Tiffany Stratton, acting as if she didn't absolutely try to eviscerate Tiffany Stratton for a year. It's the whole Chelsea Green's not really strong, but it's just why Chelsea Green is absolutely perfect. Oh, and let's not forget, they also had to call out the greatest female wrestler of all time to help seal up that match as well and bring Charlotte Flair out of the crowd. All right. So stop trying to push Jade, Cargill, and Tiffany Stratton down my face when you needed Chelsea Green, the best mid-carder you got, and the Queen to actually have a pop in that match.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting angle that they've kind of been pushing towards Jade and Charlotte here for a little while. It worries me a little bit for Jade because Charlotte gets angry if people mess up. And I hope they have a good match, Chris.
I'd also be worried if I was Charlotte because it's obvious that Jade may not care that much on how she handles people in the ring. One of our favorites, Piper Niven, really threw some shade at Jade Cargill over the weekend, right? You guys turned me onto this, and it was pretty devastating. I really thought that's where Rod was going to for the biggest fan interaction was after Piper threw shade at her. But like, yeah, if that's true and she's not worried about taking care of the wrestlers she's in the ring with, then TKO and the WWE need to have some real conversations about the future of Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans obviously had backlash because that's what you have to do on everything here. But does that surprise you at all that a wrestler would say that about Jade Cargill?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
No.
And see, here's the ultimate biggest problem with all of it, right? Is we don't really know what to do with any of them, right? And so we don't really know what to do with Charlotte Flair. We don't really know what to do with Jade. We don't really know what to do with Tiffany. We don't really know what to do with Chelsea Green. It just seems like they don't really know what to do with anybody, which I will push back on. Okay. As many times as I will come back on this podcast and get on Triple H about storylines, I think the guy knows the business. I think if you look at his NXT run, I think if you look at some of the run where he was unencumbered by Vince McMahon, right? When Vince got pushed aside and Triple H had the creative controls and the reins all to himself, I think we have the evidence that he knows what to do. There's clearly another force at play here, Jimmy, that's just making everything be so stale. There has to be, doesn't there?
I would think so. I think there's a lot of you've got to do this, you've got to do that, or are the people who pay us to go to their venues want to see this and want to see that. So this is what we have to do. So perhaps, and that's something different because in the past, it's one guy, his company, like it or hate it, it's what he's going to do. And now it's you've got to report to people for sure. By the way, USA wins 2-0 after a red card on one of the USA players. You don't see that very often. But they did win on that. Chris looks upset. I'm sorry, Chris.
You're somehow I'm behind you because they're just in extra time for me. I was paying attention, but it's still 2-0, right?
I guess they are kind of still technically in extra time, but whatever. They're gonna win. It's 2-0. Now I've said it. Now let's see what happens.
Right? Yeah, Jimmy just jinxed us.
Actually, because it could be a lot of extra time because the goalie did get hurt. I do want to just real quick on Raw. Joe Hendry got a win. Yes. We like to see that. LA Knight got a loss. Boo. We don't like to see that. Anything else from Raw that we haven't talked about already before we head out of here?
I like to shout out just lines every once in a while, right? That's another one of my favorite parts of being a WWE fan. And I love that Jacob Fatu continues to just give it to Jay for really no reason, right? Like he rolls up on him on Monday Night Raw, I think it was. And he's like, how many times I got to tell you? I take orders from the OTC. Not from you, Jimmy, and definitely not from your punk ass, Jay. He just completely throws Jay under the bus with the punk ass out of nowhere, and Jay just takes it. That's the other thing that I love about it, right? Like, what's he going to do to the werewolf? Absolutely nothing. So, shout out to my guy, Jacob Fatu, and shout out to my guy, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy. I know Chris is anti-bloodline here, but I'm a little bit interested to see how this is all going to play out.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Solo is anti-bloodline right now, too, so let's go. I'm Team Solo.
Face Solo. We got to love it. And with that, you've been listening to the More You Know podcast.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
Morgan, you know, where we have special additions for you every now and again, right? Maybe you're not big into the wrestling and basketball talk, and we appreciate you for listening on this one. But next week is going to be for you. We got together, me, Jimmy, Chris here, and a couple of very special guests, and the Mrs. Morgan, you know, Kate Morgan, and Melissa's Leary. Goodness gracious, I almost forgot Melissa's last name. Sorry, Melissa. They joined us, and we had a sitcom Royal Rumble because, of course, we had to make it wrestling themed. So if you want some 90s nostalgia after your 4th of July weekend, what better time for some nostalgia? We're going to hit that to you on Monday, I believe. Is that right, Jimmy Jim?
Yes, it comes out on Monday. Be ready for it. It's going to be a really fun week in the Morgan You Know. And Chris, take us home.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
Yeah, as soon as I said, and you've been listening, I'm like, we forgot to do the 90s.
We do it live.
Yeah,
Listen,
whatever.
I'll just interrupt because somebody's going to have to interrupt in the podcasting space now because my guy Tim Bontemps apparently gone from podcasting, working for the Atlanta Hawks.
That's crazy, and I love that McMahon and Windhorst are just going at him. Oh, it's so funny. It's like, yeah, idiots that think that they can just talk about stuff and then get hired. I love it.
Bontemps deserves every bit of it.
Listen, he does. But you know what? It does suck, though, doesn't it? I do.
It kind of was nice, at least at times. As annoyed as I got with him, right? It was kind of like a heel in wrestling. He was that guy that I used to get so angry at. I would text Jimmy all the time. "Did you hear Bontemps this morning?"
Yep. The new guy's fine, but there is a lot less fighting, like they said, and I kind of like the fighting.
I want Bobby Marks over Vincent Goodwill. I mean, Vincent Goodwill's fine,
Yeah.
but I like Bobby Marks. He provides a little more knowledge contract-wise.
Yeah, that's true.